Dr. Quinn's Deadly 10, Episode 9. Side effects. Amanda Phillips, Todd Swift, and Aaron... See those names? None of those names even matter. See that chick there? Supposedly this won a bunch of awards. Those awards mean nothing to me, I found, watching some of these other movies. Amber Heard is in here. A very young Amber Heard. I heard this movie's kind of freaking crazy, actually. Side effects. Man, I hope one of them isn't me having to rip my own eyeballs out.
Well, your eyes are a little bit dilated and unresponsive. So what did you take?
Better than heroin, LSD, or X. This is the world's perfect drug.
Don't look at me like that, like I'm some kind of freak. You want it too. You're still fighting it, but you want it. It's not the drug, Tuesday. Desire's inside of us. The drug just lets us be who we really are. You're thinking about it now, aren't you?
I'm not going back out there.
What are we gonna do?
The boy tried to defend himself, but he was too drunk.
We didn't know it had side effects.
That was close. You okay?
Oh boy, let's talk about side effects. Oh god. Oh, that movie was so bad. So it came out in 2005 and was directed by Patrick Johnson, who you probably have never heard of because I don't know if he did anything else. I didn't bother to look after this piece of garbage. I'm pretty sure what this movie actually is like, he probably went to film school and this was like his college movie that he did for some kind of a project where he got all his buddies together. Amber Heard was probably in his class or something like that, and he made his little college student film. And then this Creep FX company, or like Maverick Entertainment, the company that put this out, gave him some money. He's like, oh, I'll just get some pickup shots, put a little music on it, and pocket the rest. Because, oh boy, this is like student level quality horror. Rough stuff. So it's the story of this girl that has an apartment and she has this bum of a friend who's crashing there and that owes her a bunch of money and stuff. And you know, he does some unsavory things. He decides he's gonna have a party at this girl's house. Well, she is not having it and stuff, and he's all saying that by having this party he'll be able to pay all the rent and stuff like that, and he's a super douchebag, super bad actor too, and he's trying to get all these people to come to this party. Well, he ends up having, like, he has this crazy stuff that is like a bottle of red liquid that is like the new hot drug, and he says he's got access to it because of his connections. Fast forward a little bit later in that day, and he ends up putting a little bit of that stuff into his roommate's drink, and she drinks it, and she ends up having this crazy hot flash, I guess you would call it, where she's very interested in herself, and then she goes out and eats somebody. So it's this crazy drug that makes you like a vampire for a while, but it's not like permanent. I guess it can be permanent. I'm not exactly sure how it worked. He ends up having the party. She's all trying to figure out what the heck's going on with the drug. Lots of them take the drugs. Vampire shenanigans ensue. Vampires rule. This movie is super bad. As far as like blood and gore, like their idea of blood and gore is like liquid blood shooting out everywhere and then people covered in blood. So there's a lot of that. So if you like that kind of stuff, you're like into a blood fetish, oh man, this movie's gonna give you what you want in spades. Because there's a lot of that blood, a lot of bloody stuff. Just blood, 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 blood. No substance as far as the acting goes. All the actors seem pretty bad. You can't even tell that Amber Heard is anybody famous in this movie. They do this crazy, in the middle of the movie, they do this really bad medieval flashback where they're trying to show you the origins and what happened when the people took it in medieval times. And it feels really out of place with the rest of the movie. The pacing is all over the place. I don't remember if there's any nudity. If there is, it's not of any note. And movies like this kind of need that, I think, if you want people to actually be entertained. This one is just real rough. I really think this was a college film or that level. It won a bunch of indie awards and stuff. I need to go back and see if that other movie that I reviewed here earlier was also made in 2005, because I think I made the comment that must have been a rough year for movies because all these horrible indie movies are getting these awards, and I'm just like, how? This movie's freaking garbage. Anyway, Side Effects is a terrible excuse for a vampire movie. It's barely a vampire movie. There's a lot of blood splatter, but that's as much as you get as far as the gore. The effects of the chicks being vampires is pretty much just contact lenses, fangs, and maybe they paint their faces up a little bit. It's really about him having the party and then the people taking the drugs and people getting eaten at the party. Very disposable flick. I'm sorry I'm still even talking about this. It's terrible. Don't watch Side Effects.
Dr. Quinn's Deadly 10, Episode 10.
Salem's Lot. Rob Lowe. Look at that cast. James Cromwell, Rutger Hauer, Donald Sutherland. It's the end of the road.
I used to think nothing happened here. The truth is, everything happens here.
A dark secret.
When do we meet your partner?
In his own good time.
Awakened by a mysterious stranger.
I saw a plastic bag in the back seat.
Was it little boy size?
It was head size.
This June.
I know your name!
What about the house?
It scares me even to this day.
An old friend is coming home.
Life is such a precious gift.
I don't know how to stop it. Based on Stephen King's best-selling novel.
Let me in, Daddy.
What's happening to this town?
Rob Lowe, Andre Braugher, Rutger Hauer, and Donald Sutherland. Salem's Lot. Don't miss 2 nights of suspense, beginning Sunday, June 20th at 8.
I happen to like it here.
Only on TNT.
So back in 2004, TNT, of all places, was looking for some content, I guess. They needed some made-for-TV movies. And in the early 2000s, horror was in the middle of its big resurgence, and that included on television. So made-for-TV horror was getting made more abundantly. And they just decided to adapt the Stephen King story, which has been done many, many times, of Salem's Lot. This one was directed by Mikhail Solimon. I believe that's how you say it. The wind is crazy, man. It's like hurricane season here. Whoa, scary. I got crazy stuff going on in the background here. The winds are howling ridiculously as we're at the end of the Deadly 10. So this movie is pretty much the same thing as the old Salem's Lot, with a much more ridiculous cast, with people like Donald Sutherland, Rutger Hauer as frickin' the vampire. Oh, that best part of this flick for sure. James Cromwell's up in this. Donald Sutherland, need I say more? And stars Rob Lowe. Wow, just star power, baby. So the old one was also a made-for-TV movie, and besides a couple of scenes and the awesome makeup effects of the vampire Barlow, I think is a very boring flick. There's a lot of monologue, a lot of exterior and interior monologue. The stuff with the vampire is few and far between, although there's this real scary scene with this little kid who became a victim of Barlow and is trying to come see one of his friends. And he's like floating by his window and he's trying to get him to let him in because vampires aren't allowed to come into places if they're not invited. That's the lore that keeps up here. Not a lot of action, and being made for TV, obviously there are limitations, especially being this is before Walking Dead type stuff was on television, which I believe is the beginning of when they started going crazy, gore crazy on TV, where that was cool. So there was limitations at this time with what was going on with television. So like when I'm seeing vampires, I want to see people getting shredded. I want to see like throats getting ripped. I want to see all that crazy stuff, and you get nothing. You get none of that. I think this new one is a lot more dramatic, just because of all the ridiculous actors in it. Some for the better, some for the worse. Donald Sutherland, pretty much everything I see him in, I enjoy, including this. But this movie is not terrible. This movie is just bad. I do not enjoy it just because of how slow it is. This remake was even worse for me because, yes, Rutger Hauer is freaking amazing and he brings a lot to the character of Barlow, the vampire, but at the same time he doesn't have the crazy ass makeup like the dude from the original one had. And at least that had me interested in watching because I wanted to see this crazy ass vampire effing people up. But I didn't get that. So, I don't know. I'm ending on a very somber note here. I've gotten through these 10 frickin' movies. It's not October 31st. The curse is broken. I can feel it. Thank you so much for all of you guys who took this journey with me. This was a very interesting experience. Not have seen any of these movies. They were pretty much all terrible. I don't know why you would want to pick them up, but if you are into torturing yourself, definitely watch one of those. The next time I get a package from Dr. Quinn, I'm definitely not gonna open it. Screw that guy. I feel like he owes me money for the time that I wasted. But yeah, another October gone. Thanks for rocking with us. I'm your boy, Space Face P. Until next year, happy Halloween.